video. It's your girl Ashley, or Sean likes to call me Queen Ash, and I'm here with another story time video. Story time about more ex-boyfriend drama. I have a lot, so don't worry. It took me a long time to find Sean. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the post notifications, and yeah, let's get into it. Today's story is going to be about the guy that I moved to New York City with. Bum bum bum. This is kind of a big one, and I was kind of debating whether I should save it until later on or now, but I feel like there's no time like the present. So let's get into the story about Brad. Brad was from the same place that I was from, Hammond, Indiana. We moved here together, and some backstory is that his friends didn't want him to come, his family didn't want him to come, and I was very neutral about it. He was a very creative guy, he knew how to play 7 instruments, and he really liked YouTube. And I was coming for acting, and I kind of felt like New York City is a place where even if you're very lost, there's always something to do. I feel like you can find yourself here, and there's always opportunities and jobs around every corner if you just look for it hard enough. That's kind of how I went into it. I had never visited New York City before I came here, so that's just like what I thought about it. His family did not want him to come. So we come here, we move here, we live here, and everything's fine at first. It's just me and him living in an apartment with some people that I went to school with in the other room, 2-bedroom, me and him in 1 bedroom, and 2 people from my college in another bedroom. So we do live together when we came here. We were splitting the bills, all of the bills. So yeah, so I moved here, I was going to college full-time, and I was working 2 jobs, Forever 21 and Sunglass Hut in retail. And so I was working a lot. I hardly had any free time, and Brad, on the other hand, he had worked at Express, a retail store back home, and he wanted to transfer to this one. Unfortunately, they would not honor his position that he had there, so he did kind of have to start from the ground up, which I was trying to be understanding about. But he was just working part-time in retail while I was working 2 part-time retail jobs, and I was going to college full-time. I went to college Monday through Friday. It was an all-day thing. It was probably about classes, my earliest class is like 8, and my latest class might have ended at like 4 or 5 sometimes. There was like a break in the middle, but it was a conservatory college for acting. It was very intense, so I didn't have a lot of free time to myself, as you can imagine if you're working 2 part-time jobs and you're also going to school full-time. Now he did, and because he was an only child, I think that he just never really got any independence, so he didn't really know what to do with it when he was home all by himself every day. And we did move to New York City without any friends or family. I didn't know anybody, he didn't know anybody. So it can be very lonely in a city full of millions. But the difference is that I was out every day, like working and going to school, so I was meeting people, just, that I went to school with and that I was working with. And he was working like part-time, like 3 days a week at Express, so he was meeting people there, but it was more slow. And I would say that I am, more outgoing than he was. He was on the more quiet side, so I think that might have also had a play into it. So basically, I hope you're getting the picture of 2 people coming to the city, only have each other, one person extremely busy and working as hard as possible to make her dreams come true, and then the other person kind of lost, not really sure what he's doing, very quiet, very different personalities. It did affect me pretty bad because I obviously wanted to see him happy. I felt like he moved here for me, even though he kept saying that he didn't move here for me. I told him a million times not to come here if it was for me, to come here if he didn't like his life, and he didn't. Like I said, his family wanted him to go down a more traditional path, so he was enrolled in school for computer engineering, and he was just way too creative for that, and that wasn't making him happy, and it's not what he wanted to do, so I felt like this was the perfect place for him. But when we got here, he wasn't putting forth any effort to do the things that he wanted to do. He said that he wanted to do YouTube. He was not putting any videos up or filming or even researching or watching YouTube videos. He also said that he wanted to play instruments for YouTube, so he wasn't even practicing his guitar or any instruments that he'd played, and he just seemed very depressed. But again, he had no independence before because he was an only child. So he was depressed, smoking, working part-time, but was in the house a lot. I started to get frustrated. His energy started to bring me down, and I was missing things that people would invite me to. Coworkers and my other fellow like college students would invite me to come and hang out at their dorms or go to dinner with them or go out to a bar with them, and I would always say no. I would always rush right home back to him because I felt bad that he was alone. Or if I did say yes, I would always say, oh, can my boyfriend come? Can my boyfriend come? Can my boyfriend come? It wasn't working. It really wasn't working. I sat him down and I told him that I was bored in our relationship, and I 100% was being honest. I was really bored and I was worried about what was happening. So that's going on. At the same time, you know, we had some difficulties with my roommates, and it was getting a little bit hard to pay for everything because he wasn't bringing enough money at all. And I'm a person where I believe in splitting everything equal down the middle. So I always paid for half of my own dinners. I always paid for half of the groceries. I always paid for half the utilities. Like, everything was split equally down the middle. Well, obviously, his part-time express job could not keep up with the demands of a New York City rent, with all of the things it entails, with us eating out, with us, you know, everything that comes along with it. And so he ended up owing me over $2,000 at the end of our relationship. Yeah, I was paying the rent for him, and a lot of times I was paying the rent for him and covering his side of the groceries and stuff like that. And at this time, I was only 19 and he was 21. Friends do talk and put things in your head, and you know, when I would tell people about my situation, they were telling me like, wow, like, how are you doing this? Hey, how are you working 2 jobs, going to school, you know, and trying to take care of this guy? And it was intense. It was very draining. So, as you can see, relationship not going well at all. He owes me money. He's sad. He's affecting, taking away time from the friends. He's smoking a lot, and he's not doing anything that he said he's not driven anymore. Like, everything, all of his plans like had went out the window. That's where it was at. So then there was this guy who was my boss at Sunglass Hut, who had started to walk me home when we had closed at night. Like, not walk me home, but walk me to the train when we had closed at night. It was really nice of him to walk me. He didn't have to do that, but we would get to talking, and I can tell that he was flirting a little bit, but he was a lot older than me. I was 19, he was 29, so he was a lot older than me. And he would walk me for coffee, and he also did the schedule, so he started arranging the schedule so that we closed a lot, and there were people talking, but there was nothing happening because I had a boyfriend. So I was honest with my boyfriend the whole time. I told Brad, like, hey, that there's this guy, like, he's really cool, I'm being friends with him, blah, blah, blah. I did end up telling Brad at one point. I sat him down and I told him, hey, like, there's something there. I don't know what it is. It could just be friendship. It could just be, you know, chemistry that we have, but there's a connection there. I did tell Brad this 100%. Now, Brad was, you know, very sad and upset by this, of course, and Brad at that moment could have ended it if he wanted to end it, but Brad did not end it, and I didn't end it either. I also could have ended it if I wanted to end it, so it's no one's fault, but we did, he did want to stay together, and he did want to try and work it out. So, in the future, when my boss at Sunglass Hut, let's call him Hefe. We're gonna call him Hefe. So my boss Hefe, he did start inviting me out, like I said, to things after work. Like, not anything like public. It was just us, like, go to a diner after work. There's 24-hour diners here, and just talk and stuff. And I did feel really alone because I felt like I was in a horrible situation and I was very overwhelmed about everything. And so I wasn't really making a lot of friends in my college because I was rushing right home to go to work, or I was rushing right home back to my boyfriend at the time, Brad. So he did feel like somebody I could talk to, Hefe was. So when Hefe would ask me to go to these diners after work and have coffee with him after work, I would tell Brad, oh, Hefe is asking me here, Hefe is asking me there, blah, blah. Brad told me, I don't like that you're friends with him, but there's nothing that I can really do. And I said, yeah, you're not gonna stop me from making friends anymore. I feel like you've affected me from making friends, and I don't want to be held back anymore. I want to be able to make friends and flourish here, and I really feel like you're holding me back. And when I told him the board thing, he did say that he would try harder and that we would do more spontaneous things. And you know, then in that moment when I told him we were walking, and when I said, oh, I'm bored, he like ran down an escalator that was going up as like a point to prove like I can be more spontaneous. And it was funny, but it's like he never did anything else after that. Just to recap, we have super rocky relationship. We have our new friend Hefe coming into the picture, and there's something there. Brad is aware of this. He doesn't like it, but he said that he doesn't like it, but he said that there's nothing that he can do to stop it, and I agreed. So I agree. Looking back at this, we should have just ended things. We clearly were not working. We clearly wanted different things, and I don't think this was the place for him. I very much feel like New York City chewed him up and spit him out, and it's harsh, but it is what it is. And I tried to be there for him as much as I could, but then it started to escalate with Hefe. Basically, Hefe was saying that he had a car and that it would be better that if we, instead of hanging out at diners and stuff and me having to take the train all alone by myself, that I could just hang out at his house and he would drive me home. That way, I wouldn't have to be on the train by myself. Now, I was 19, so this older guy with the car and everything, of course, it does seem appealing. He wasn't very attractive. It was more his confidence that was attractive to me, and also his ability to like always come in and like swoop me up and save me, like make me feel better. Yeah, so I told Brad after work, Hefe wanted me to come over to his house and that we were gonna hang out and that he was gonna drive me home so that I didn't have to take the train. Brad was not happy. Brad was not happy at all. He did not want me to go. He didn't understand why I was going. He was very upset. But I said, I'm going, like, sorry, I'm going. And I didn't listen to his feelings. I didn't take his feelings into consideration because I just wanted to have a friend. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to have somebody to talk to. And so I went to Hefe's house. When we were there, everything was fine, everything was cool, and nothing happened. We just hung out, we talked. He like made us both like vodka cranberries or something, and then he ended up driving me home. Everything was fine. Obviously, Brad was upset by it, but nothing happened, and I thought everything was fine. So then, fast forward to the next time that Hefe had asked me to come to his house. It probably had been like a week. I wasn't expecting anything to happen again because I had a boyfriend. Nothing happened the first time. Everything has been fine. There's been nothing. Like, I could tell there was a connection and chemistry there, but, and that he was kind of flirty, but it was nothing like more than that. So then I go to Hefe's house this time. We're drinking and talking and everything, and I'm telling him about how upset I am about Brad and how I was frustrated that Brad owed me money, and that I would be asking Brad to do little things like, you know, if you're home all day, can you clean up anything, or can you do the laundry, or can you do anything? And he wouldn't do it. I would come home and every day he would just be smoking weed and watching Arrow. And there's nothing wrong with those activities and those hobbies, but if that's what you're doing all day, it's not attractive. No drive, nothing. I'm at Hefe's house venting, and Brad knows where I am. Brad knows everything. And Hefe leaned in and kissed me. I immediately jerked back because I've been cheated on before, and I never want to be a person that cheats on anyone. So I jerked back immediately, and I was like, oh, like, what was that? I was like, what? Like, I understand there's like a connection, you're being like flirty, but I still have a lot of things that I need to figure out before I do anything. I, was just getting stuff off my chest. And he was like, I'm so sorry, like, I thought I read the moment wrong, like, and I was like, you need to take me home right now. And he was like, okay, I'm so sorry. So we're driving to my apartment, and he's apologizing, and he's like, I'm really quiet, and he's just like, firing questions at me, like, I'm sorry, are you okay? Like, or what are you gonna tell him? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna, like asking me a million questions, but I could barely think. I felt so guilty, and I didn't even do anything. I mean, I did do something. I did put myself in that situation. I will agree. I put myself in that situation. I went to another guy's house. Even if your boyfriend knows, obviously if he's upset about it, you shouldn't be doing it. You guys should be able to agree on boundaries and stuff like that. But our relationship was so bad, I really was at the point where I didn't care. But I still shouldn't have put myself in that situation. So I didn't know what I was gonna tell Brad, but I knew that I needed to make a decision right then and there. It kind of felt like a turning point in my life. These questions came to my head, and it was basically like, okay, this guy kissed you. the questions that you need to ask yourself is, did you like it? Did you like it when he kissed you? That's number one, yes or no. And then the other question is like, would you like for him to do it again? Now, the answers to those questions were going to basically help me make my next step forward, because if the answers to those questions were yes, I liked it, and yes, I wanted him to do it again, obviously I have to end the relationship. I would never cheat on anyone. So when that happened, I did think about it, and I got home. He was sleeping, and I woke him up, and I told him like, you know, this guy kissed me, and I told him the whole thought process about my kissing, because this guy, he started crying, which broke my heart because we really did have a good relationship at the start. I really did like him. And he was a very sweet, nice guy. And he was different than other guys that had always been mean to me. It was just that we were not on the same page anymore, and it wasn't a good relationship, but I still cared about him as a person. Obviously, I don't want to see him crying. So I apologized to him, but I told him, like, he was begging to work it out. And I told him, like, no, we can't, like, because the answers to the questions that I have are that I didn't want this to stop. Like, I wanted to explore this further. If I want to explore this further, there's no way we can continue this relationship. And he was really upset, and I don't know, I really felt horrible. But I felt like all I could do is be as honest. So that's what I did. And so I kind of cooled it with hanging out with Jefe, because obviously this guy Brad is living with me, and I don't want to rub it in his face. And yeah, I ended it. I told Brad, like, hey, you know, since I do want to explore this further, I don't think there's any way that we can work this out. Like, I haven't been happy for a long time. I told you, you know, months ago that I was bored. I told you, you know, months ago that I wasn't happy, and, you know, nothing has changed, and I'm still not happy, and now I'm finding a connection with someone else. I just kind of feel like it's done. And he was really upset and didn't take it well at all. Every day he would be like he forgot that I broke up with him. Every day we would wake up and he would try and act like everything was the same. I don't think that he really forgot. I think that he was more in denial that it wasn't happening. And I would have to tell him, like, what are you doing? When he would try and hug or kiss me, like, it's over, it's done, like, I don't want this anymore. And so basically the final straw is about a week later. It would have been our 1-year anniversary. And he set up like this whole thing in our bedroom that we shared, like this really romantic thing with like rose petals and the laptop pulled up of a menu of a restaurant that he wanted to take me to. And I walked in and I instantly started crying. I have never felt more bad in my entire life. I felt terrible. I felt like garbage. Like, how many times do I have to keep hurting you and telling you, like, that it's over, that it's done, that I can't do this? Like, you know, I felt like I tried so much and I'd always tried to be honest to not hurt his feelings, but in the end, some guy still kissed me and hurt his feelings, and I just, like, I was trying so hard to be transparent and honest about everything, but it just wasn't working. So I texted his dad, and maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but I texted his dad and I told him, like, you know, and I think his dad already knew that we had broken up, but I texted his dad and I was telling his dad, like, I can't have him here anymore. You know, he owes me thousands of dollars. He's really upset. He's making me really upset. Like, he's trying to carry on like this relationship is still going on and it's not. And I was just, I don't know, it was such a weird, awkward position to get put in. But his dad did reply and say that he was going to come pick his son up and give me the money that his son owed me, which was kind of shocking. But I get it, because his family never wanted him to come in the first place. And I did apologize, you know, for everything and any hurt that I caused him. I just felt like I had been honest through the whole thing, so I didn't really get, like, I don't know. I could have handled it better, I guess. But his dad came, his dad picked him up, his dad packed up his stuff, wrote me a check, and they left. And I did not just start dating Hefe as soon as I broke up with Brad. I definitely had some time to myself, and I started seeing these tweets from Brad talking about me, talking about the guy that I was talking to, Hefe, and it really hurt my feelings because I wanted to be friends, and we had a talk about us trying to be friends and him agreeing to stop the tweets, and him saying that he just wants me to be happy, and then me saying the same thing. So I thought that we ended on like a mature, you know, mutual note. Like, I tried to explain to him that it had nothing to do with Hefe, that our relationship should have ended a long time ago, but Hefe was kind of like the breaking point for me that showed me that I was going down a road and that I didn't want to go down. I would rather be honest and end the relationship than be shady and because I wasn't happy. So he agreed that he wouldn't post any more nasty tweets or anything, but he continued to do it. I got phone calls from many people, from my friends that were back home, from my dad, like everybody's telling me like, you know, this guy is saying this and this about you, and this about the guy that you're talking to, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing this? Like, I understand that he was hurt. He had every right to be hurt. I was hurting too. But I don't know. It was just a horrible situation. And then I reached out to him again, and I told him that I was gonna be blocking him because I felt like he was never gonna stop. So I blocked him, and I think he might have blocked me too. I'm not sure. So we didn't have each other on social media anymore. And yeah, so you would think that would be where the story would end, but it actually doesn't end here. It gets even worse. Basically, he got his revenge on me, pretty much, if you want to call it that. I don't know if that was his intention, but he definitely did, whether he intended it to be or not. So months went by, a year went by, after we had broken up, and I went to visit my hometown. And when I visited my hometown, on the last day I was leaving, I went to this little breakfast diner place, and I saw one of my closest friends from high school there. I would say she was my second closest friend in high school. So I saw her at the diner, and I went to go say hello to her. I was at a 10 when I saw her. Looking back, I feel so stupid. I was at like a 10. I was like, oh my God. Let's call her Rebecca. I was like, oh my God, Rebecca! What the, like, oh my God, what are you doing here? And this was her face. She's eating her food. She hears me and sees me, and she's like, I was like, what? And I was with Hefe at the time visiting my hometown. So I was like, what the heck? Like, why is she acting that way? And I like stood up, like waiting for her to get up out of the booth and like give me a hug, and she didn't move. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were in town, because she went to college a few hours away. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know you were in town. I asked a bunch of people like if they wanted to hang out. Like, I was coming into town and I would have loved to hang out with you. And she was just like, oh yeah, it's like, it was like a last minute thing. I'm just like hanging out with my mom, so. And I was like, okay, like, well, I don't want to bother you, so I'm gonna go, like. So we get in the car, me and Hefe, and I was like, that was so weird. I felt so embarrassed because I had talked about this girl so much to Hefe, about how nice she was, how much I thought she was such a good friend, and how she struggled with so many things, but I wanted like nothing but the best for her. So I felt really stupid when she didn't match the same energy. So I texted my friend Rose, and I said, hey, a really weird thing just happened right now with Rebecca. And she was like, really? Oh, maybe it has to do with something that I saw on Snapchat. And I was like, what? Like, what did you see on Snapchat? And she's like, oh, like I thought you knew because I thought you had her on Snapchat, and I thought you had him on Snapchat. They've been posting pictures together, her and Brad. And I was like, wait, what? They've been posting pictures together? Doing what? And She was like, I don't know, they just seem very close. I don't know if something's happening. Something could be happening, something could not be happening, I'm not sure. But I just, you know, I've seen them on Snapchat together. So I was like, what the fuck? Pretty much, like, so you came back here and got with one of my closest friends who I introduced you guys. I tried to hook her up with your best friend, and now you're with this guy that I dated, and this guy is with this girl that was my closest friend. I could not comprehend it. I was like, this is not happening to me. This is really not happening to me. And nobody told me. Not one person from my hometown was like, oh, like, this is happening. Like, and I get it. It had been probably like, it'd probably been like a year, if I'm being honest. It had probably been like a year. So it wasn't that deep. It wasn't like I had feelings for him. It was more just like the fact, like, are you serious? Like, of all the people? So I texted Rebecca and I was like, hey, I was super nice. Super nice. I was like, hey, you know, that was really weird. I feel really embarrassed. I let her know how I felt, and I was like, I wanted to make sure, like, what's going on, blah, blah. This girl tells me that she doesn't like how I treated Brad. She didn't like what I did to Brad. She didn't like anything that I did and how I cheated on him. How she never saw Brad as Ashley's boyfriend, how she always just saw Brad as Brad, and how she doesn't want to have any further communications with me or be friends with me anymore. What the fuck? I was like, okay, like, my brain imploded. Like, first of all, do whatever you gotta do. Do it, go off. I was over him. Like, I was out here doing my own thing in the city. It's fine. But like, send a text. Like, let me know. And the other side of things is like, you were hearing all this from him. I cheated on him. I treated him bad. I did all these things. And I'm supposed to be your friend. Why wouldn't you text or call me? Hey, I heard ABCD. Why wouldn't you want to get my side of the story? Why would you just believe this guy who you didn't even know until I introduced you to him? Like, it was so dirty. In my opinion, that was something very dirty to do to a friend. I would never do that to a friend. I found that disgusting. And the fact that you want to cut communication with me and you don't want to be friends with me without even getting my side of the story, like, treating me like I did something wrong and saying that you never looked at him as Ashley's boyfriend, you always just looked at him as Brad. You never knew him as Brad. Never. You did not know him before I introduced him to you, so you did know him as Ashley's boyfriend. You never were alone with him. You never talked to him. You were kissing his best friend and crying in his best friend's bathtub about some other dude while you're also thinking about his best friend. So how are you gonna tell me you always just knew him as him? Because you didn't. You never did. That shit really got to me because I really thought we were better friends than that. So yeah, so I just, I don't know what I said to her. I think I might have tried to say like, oh, like pretty much what I'm telling you now, like you didn't want to get my side of the story, like, you know, it's really messed up, like, you know, you can do whatever you want, but like, why wouldn't you ask my side of the story and all this kind of stuff? And she kind of just put it in a way saying like, he's there and I'm over here, so that's like what is more important. That was like her priority. Because she's gonna see him all the time, that's what she's gonna believe, and because I'm over there, like, I don't know, it didn't make sense to me. So I was just like, okay, guess our friendship's over. And I told my dad because my dad did know all of these people because my dad was my acting teacher. So he did know all of these people that were involved, and I told him, and he was kind of shook that that happened. And so now it's like kind of awkward because I unfriended her off everything, but obviously we have mutual friends. And I mean, that's not awkward anymore. It was kind of awkward at first because I would see her getting retweeted or somebody sharing her post or whatever, and I didn't follow her or friend her or anything, so it'd be like kind of weird to see her name. But I haven't seen her actual name or anything in a really long time. So, I mean, I hope they're doing great, you know, but just like, girls, don't do that to your friends. Like, if you wanna like you know, holler at your friend's ex. Like, bottom line, no matter how long it's been, just like have a conversation. Whether it's a text, whether it's just like a DM, whether it's whatever, like, you know, give a heads up so I'm not coming at you with the 30 like, oh my God, Rebecca, what's up? And you're just like, who are you? Like, okay, and if you didn't like what I did or anything, why didn't you hit me up? Like, check your, you know, you should be able to be a good friend and check your friend. If you don't feel like your friend is doing the right thing, if you feel like your friend is being a bad person, you should be a person to let your friend know, like, hey, I really don't think that you should be doing what you're doing, but like, you know, do you. At least let them know that you don't think that you like the path that they're going down, so that there could be a conversation. You could clear things up. Like, she automatically just took his word that I cheated on him. And I get it. It was a messy situation. And if you guys see that as cheating, I'm not gonna argue with you. I didn't make the move, but I did put myself in that situation. And I'll own up to it. The relationship should have ended a long time ago. And definitely now I would have handled it differently. A relationship like that, I would have just ended it. Now, if I was that bored and somebody owed me that kind of money, I literally would have just ended it now. But you know, you live and you learn, and you learn who your true friends are, and everything happens for a reason. So that's my story, guys, of the time that so many things happened. I don't even know how to sum that up. The time where the guy that moved to New York with me, I broke up with him, sent him back to Indiana, and then he had sex with one of my closest friends from high school. Yeah. So, I hope you guys liked it. That's my life. Yeah, so if you guys want to hear more stories about this crazy life that I have, just let me know, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and this has been another Running Through the Bumps series. So far we got Ruiz, check, and we got Brad, check. Yeah, so I hope you guys liked it. Oh, so yeah, like I said, I hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment down below if you did like it or how you would have handled the situation. Would you have done what I did? Would you not have done what I did? Was I right? Was I wrong? Do you think it was cheating? Do you not think it was cheating? Let me know. I'm interested to know. I'm over the situation, so it doesn't really hurt me anymore, but I'd love to see what you guys think. So, yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's your girl, Ashley, and bye!